Mason's edition. Over the hill, Grahamstown, Baintown, from everywhere they're coming. They're the people's choice, the Saxon Superstars.
Hello? Who's in the morning?
Boots!
Yeah, y'all thought we was finishing.
It is impossible, Madam Speaker, for us, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and our law enforcement agencies, to police our waters. 100,000 square miles of water.
They're selling our country, they're selling our land, they're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling our whole country, they're selling our heart. We got a whole nation in 73. Now we getting back the whole country. What kind of fools we must be, selling out for a bag of rice and a cup of tea. You know what just bug me? Help me understand. I can't find piece of property for under 80 grand, but I can fix this. I know what to do. I can squat just like them other people try make me do. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. They're selling our heart.
How long was the flight? How long was the ride over? How long?
Flea market in Gauban Road, Rock Crusher, Tea Wash, cold as ice.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for being here. It is always a pleasure to be with you on this Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you for spending this time with us. We're only going to be a short time. We're going to be less than an hour today because we know some of you got to go prepare for your Super Bowl. Someone asked me, why are you going live on Super Bowl Sunday? A lot of people won't be able to watch. And my answer to them was, everyone playing on that field is already rich. They're a millionaire. They straight and their children straight. Everyone on the sidelines, they straight and their children straight. We got to get our nation straight. The NFL makes more money than our entire nation. The NFL. And you are contributing to that. What we need to do is contribute to the development of our nation. And so I changed the time today just for you lovers of football. And of course, to give you enough time to get out there for 6:30 and go and do what you have to do. All right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I just have to be straight and blunt and straight to the point with this, especially because I don't want to go to belabor this today. I want to be clearly understood by our servants. Anyone who is paid by the people of the Bahamas, that's who I'm talking to right now. You are a servant of the people. And that includes any government minister, any member of Parliament, any senator, and any police officer, you are paid by us to work on our behalf, not on behalf of the Prime Minister or any corrupt politician. There seems to be some concern, which of course I understand. There seems to be some concern that the CARICOM protests will cause the whole world to look at our country differently. That is the plan. But it's to cause the world to look at the Bahamas the way it actually is. Someone says they're messing with the live. Give me a sec. All right, new IP, we should be lost to them right now. So hopefully that everything is okay. We have set up, different situations to make sure that we can hide when we have to and switch things when we have to make it hard for them. All right. Someone says it's good now. Okay, thank you. Awesome. So that's it. Now let me say what I have to say, guys. Please share this live. Make sure that everyone is watching this. Make sure that everyone is watching this. The police had a ComStat meeting, and a ComStat is a meeting that they have every week. And the police is going to now know how powerful the new Bahamas is. The new Bahamas is here. It is not a futuristic place. It is already established. If you understand what I'm saying. There are many patriots all over this country. There is no government meeting at which a patriot, a citizen of the New Bahamas is not present. We want the police, the immigration department, the cabinet of this country, and everyone else to know that every time you open your mouth, we know what comes out of your mouth. We want you to understand that. Sometimes we'll have recordings of what you say, and sometimes we'll have a witness proof of what you say, and sometimes documentary evidence. But let me just show the police how serious the New Bahamas is, because they may not understand. This is something that is going to take place. This is something that is already here. And so, ComStat meeting is a meeting that the police have every single week. It's when all the leaders in the police force, the senior officers, get together and they discuss and they have a meeting on whatever are the serious issues of the day. That's where they communicate and they make sure that everyone is on one accord. And so that's where you go when rapes are up. You meet and you make sure that everyone knows what's going on. When murder is up, that's where you meet and you make sure everyone is going on, and then you put together a strategy. You see the persons who are responsible for certain things, they'll give an account, etc., etc. Let me make this clear to you. There was a ComStat meeting this week, or should I say last week, because today's Sunday. 2 days ago, there was a ComStat meeting. And at the ComStat meeting, the whole meeting was about Lincoln Dane. The entire meeting, Bahamas. The entire meeting was about Lincoln Dane and what they could do with me. The major part of it was a concern about the CARICOM meeting. There seemed to be an effort at this meeting to brainwash senior officers to vilify me. You see, when you vilify a thing, that causes you to be able to attack it. Someone says it's terrible connection. I don't know if it's still good. I don't know if it's still good. Oh, the sound's still bad. I'm hearing the sound and the sound's good to me. Let me run a test quickly. Well, just excuse me while I run a test. Getting the sound from here. Someone says it's good, better. Maybe that was the old messages that I'm just seeing now, because some of the messages come late. They don't show all the messages at the same time. All right, so they scatter the messages. Okay, you can hear me. Good. All right, so this is make sure that it continues to be that way. So y'all just keep me informed on how the sound is. Someone says backup solid. Okay, what happens is Facebook separates the messages, and so some they'll put now, some they'll put later in order to make sure the live stream can operate properly. All right, so let me just say this again. There was a Comstat meeting, and Comstat is a police meeting. I don't know how much of this you heard. Comstat is a police meeting, and if you see the live being interfered with, it is the government actually interfering with it because they don't want you to hear what's going on. You see the Senate hearings right now going on with reference to Twitter and other things, and how they've been interfering with activists and persons who were speaking out, et cetera, et cetera. Governments have power to do certain things, and Twitter, Facebook, et cetera, they've been cooperating with certain things. All right, so it's good now. You all just stay focused. Make sure you share this. There was an entire Comstat meeting. The Comstat meeting, I'll repeat this for you. The Comstat meeting is a meeting where all of the police force, senior officers meet, and they report from their different areas, and they talk about the serious issues that's going on, if it's rape, if it's murder, or whatever is happening, and that certain persons account. If there's a bunch of murders in Sanssouci area, then the senior officers from in the Eastern Division would have to give account, say what's going on, what are they prepared to do, and then the planning goes on. So that's Comstat is the most important police meeting that there is. At this meeting a few days ago, the only thing they discussed really was Lincoln Bain. With all the serious issues going on in this country today, they took a whole Comstat meeting to discuss Lincoln Bain. A whole Comstat meeting with all the murders happening in this country, with all the drugs going to this country, with all the illegal immigration happening in this country, all the fraudulent documents, children now getting kidnapped in our country. That's a culture of another country. With all the seriousness going on in this country today, the police had a whole Comstat meeting. And I didn't get this from one source, just in case they want to look. A whole Comstat meeting where the discussion was Lincoln Bain. And so the pair that what they were doing were trying to brainwash the senior police officers. That's how I feel about what I heard came out of that meeting. They were trying to brainwash the senior police officers into vilifying me. And you always vilify things so that you could attack it and no one will care. Because if you kill a puppy, they'll send you to jail. If you kill a mouse, no one cares. If a butterfly comes into your room, you will play with it. But if a roach flies into your room, you will kill it and no one cares. That's vilification. It's like how the original settlers in America vilified the Indians. Remember, you played cowboys and the Indians was always the bad guy. But actually, in reality, the Indians were the good guys. And they were scalped. They would tell you, the Indians scalped people, and they would say negative things about them. But they were scalped. They took their hair to make brushes and other stuff and to do different things with it. They scalped the Indians. Nelson Mandela also talked about how they would vilify, people in Africa and their movement in order to be able to attack them and no one cares. And so this vilification is what you do so that a person can be attacked and they can still have the moral high ground. And so at the meeting, they started to vilify me and say certain things like, I say I care about the country, but, this is going to be the biggest embarrassment that this country has ever had. I guess these police officers weren't around when they had the commissions of inquiry in 1984 and in the 90s. I guess they weren't around when we were all over the news internationally about a nation for sale. They said this is going to be the biggest embarrassment in Bahamian history. And they said, I am saying that I care about the country, but I would vilify the country like this. Let me make it clear to you, senior officer. I won't call your name. I'm not vilifying the country. We're getting help. Because you clearly, and all of your officers in Comstat clearly can't deal with the issues. I spoke to the Commissioner of Police last week, Monday, about these very issues. Let me tell you what our issues are, in case you are not aware. And these are issues for which you need help. Your own Minister of Immigration says it's impossible for them to resolve this problem. The Commodore of the Defense Force said it's impossible to police these waters.
It is impossible, Madam Speaker, for us, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and our law enforcement agencies, to police our waters. 100,000 square miles of water.
Do we need to play that again? Yes, we'll do that.
It is impossible, Madam Speaker, for us, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and our law enforcement agencies, to police our waters. 100,000 square miles of water.
That's the House of Parliament. That's the government minister responsible saying it's impossible. They clearly need help. Well, if you're not going to ask for help, we are going to ask for help. The Prime Minister of this country went to CARICOM. Well, he did a statement at CARICOM, New Year's statement. And in that statement, after talking about there being a new world order and this new world order stuff that he was talking about, and everyone missed that. They played it when ministers talked about the new world order. They ignored when Grave Davis wrote that in his statement to CARICOM, that this is a new world order. He did say that in the statement. After talking about the new world order, he then said that the Bahamas is dedicated, committed to resolving the crisis in Haiti. I put it to you that we did not send him to say that. That he does not represent the Bahamas in those statements. That he is speaking against the sentiment of the vast majority of Bahamians. The Prime Minister lied to CARICOM. And so we have a duty to make sure that CARICOM knows that the Prime Minister is not representing us. Is that so wrong? We cannot have our politicians misrepresenting us. We want to make it known that if our sons and daughters are sent into Haiti to fight a war that has nothing to do with us, that we detest that. That is against our wishes. And we want the world to know that ahead of time. And that is our right, our democratic right to do so. Our politicians cannot lie and misrepresent us and get away with it. I just want to pull up his address for you so you can see this. I just want to pull this up so you can see this. I don't want you to miss this. Or yeah, I'm going to pull this up for you because we always state facts around here. Because we want them to understand as they vilify me, and I have no problem with being vilified. I am not looking for friends in this battle. I'm not looking for favor in this battle. I'm not looking for political brownie points in this battle, because if I was, I wouldn't be fighting this battle. This is not a politically expedient battle to fight, because you are always going to offend some people. But this is the stance of a true patriot. And this is the stance of true patriots who will attend CARICOM. And we will let the world know that we are in a crisis and we need help. This is the New Year's Day statement by the incoming chairman of CARICOM. Make sure you understand that I keep hearing people saying that they have elected them. No, there's a rotation, and every country gets 6 months, and there's actually a schedule. The president's schedule, I think, goes into 2025. You can Google it, and it shows every 6 months that they rotate the leader. And so I guess it sounds good. They say, oh, he was elected leader of CHARICOM. No, he wasn't. All right, that's not exactly how it works. It's kind of deceitful. And so this is the statement that he gave, and this is what he's talking about. And in this whole statement, there's nothing that really deals with the Bahamas itself. Nothing that deals with the Bahamas and the issues that we face. And the reason they rotate persons is because they want each country to be able to make sure that they have their issues addressed and that it is fair, and that things switch towards what they're concerned with, and that they're stressed. All right. And so if you look at what he said, at home, meaning in the Bahamas, we are determined to help Haiti resolve its challenges. Determined. The beleaguered people of Haiti desperately need respite from the political, economic, and the security crisis which have engulfed the country. All right. So this is him speaking for us, and he is speaking for their, not for us, but speaking for their issues. Sorry, another camera show up. How is that possible? This is him speaking for their issues, and that's shocking to real serious Bahamians. What is he talking about? Now, this is our problem for all of those police officers who spent the whole day, and there was some senior police officers, not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. There are some senior police officers who were disgusted at that meeting, at what happened at that meeting. Disgusted. That they were spending the whole day focusing on Lincoln Bain and his CARICOM protest. Every major event in this nation, every single major event, not in this nation, the world, has protests. Every G8 summit has protests. Every G20 summit has protests. The G7 summits have protests. Every single major event has protests. It is a democratic right. It is important to democracy, extremely important. So let me just say, what would be a real embarrassment to this nation? What would be a real embarrassment would not be our presence there to protest what is going on. What would be a real embarrassment is for the world to see the Bahamas breaking international law by interfering with protesters. That is what would be an embarrassment. That is what would shame our nation. We're going to be there and we're going to stand up. We have a right to be there. It's a public event open to the public. So it's good to let the world see what's going on. Now, we have an immigration crisis, a major immigration crisis that is affecting this entire region. It's not only affecting us. This is not an internal problem. This is not a problem of the Bahamas like numbers selling. This is not a problem of just hair. This is not like prostitution where it affects us. This is not like just about our murder rate. This is not about that, about how many people smoke marijuana here. This is a multinational crisis that's going on. The problem we have, and I want to make this clear to the police officers involved, we are going to get you some help because you can't do it alone. I said something to the police commissioner when I saw him last week. I said, Commissioner, do you realize that we only have 3,000 police officers? Bahamas, do you realize that we only have 3,000 police officers? Now, if you have 300-400 of these fellas coming on one ship, how long will it take them to outnumber our police officers? Well, you don't have to add it up because they already have. If these fellas are the source of the illegal guns and the machine guns and the heavy weaponry in this country, don't you think that they could outnumber our police? There are 3,000 police officers. There are 3 shifts, so all of them can't work at one time. So the most you could have is 1,000. Now, here's the problem. A lot of those 1,000 will be senior officers, office workers, etc., who don't, work on a daily basis. And so sometimes the most you will have is about 500 police officers on duty at one time, tops. They can be overrun like that. And again, that's spread over the whole 700 islands and keys. Don't think that's just Nassau and that all of them in one place who on duty at one time. So a fraction of that is on duty in New Providence, a fraction of that is on duty in Grand Bahama, a fraction in Andres, a fraction in Inagua. Think. This is a serious matter. And we are serious about this. This is serious. And so what we've been seeing is that this is a criminal crime ring. Drugs and guns and money is going, and people are going through our borders, and there's a crime ring, a connection that flows. We have to address this. This is not something that we can just ignore and say, let's keep this secret and keep this quiet in our country. Don't let the international community know that we are inundated with immigrants. How is that a problem if the international community knows that we are against illegal immigration? How would that be the biggest embarrassment in this country's history? I need any one of those senior officers who were there to explain that to me. If we are being inundated, and you, Mr. Commissioner, you said that the Bahamas dropped the ball after Dorian and allowed this influx to happen. You admitted to that to me and to Maria Daxon, that our authorities dropped the ball. How is this now a problem? If the world knows, so that we can bring proper attention to this so that no one drops the ball again. While the ball was being dropped, they were pretending to be doing something. But the commissioner has admitted that they dropped the ball. They pretended. They made us think they were doing something, but they were dropping the ball. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to wake up and wise up. They, and I always give this example. They used to say, keep it quiet when you find out, in the Catholic Church that the priest was molesting the boys because it's going to embarrass. It's going to be a big embarrassment. They were worried about the embarrassment and not the action, not the act. How sick is that? They were worried about the embarrassment it would bring, and so they wanted to cover it up so it could continue, and it did continue until it reached a boiling point. But I'm telling you, Mr. Commissioner of Police and all those senior police officers who are trying to vilify me, the children in school are being tortured and tormented. There are gang wars happening right now in this country. The murders that you are investigating, many of them are related to this same immigration crisis because of the drug trade that is now, to a large extent, controlled by this same network. Not only will Bahamians be in problems as it relates to crimes soon, in crisis, serious crisis, because of this situation, but even the criminal Bahamians who participate in this, they're going to be overthrown. They are being outgunned, outnumbered, and outmoneyed. Because the Haitians now have the Colombian connections. And they are going to come in here and kill our sons and daughters and rape our wives and children. Wake up, Bahamas. This is a serious matter. And it hurts me that at Comstat, they see us legally demonstrating, which is our constitutional right, and our right by international law. They see that as more of a problem than addressing the actual problem. Now, there are some people saying the government is doing something. And two officers were talking after Comstad, another officer overheard them. After Comstad saying that, the government, did some of these stuff because of Lincoln. They some of the stuff they put out there, they ain't give them the credit, but they did some of this stuff that they did because of Lincoln. But he catching on that they flamming. Yes, of course I'm catching on, and that is why we have to put this out there, Bahamas. Yes, I told them to stop the work permits. They stopped the work permits. But they started doing, they announced to you that they're going to be doing the permits to reside. And they're going to look at them on a case-by-case basis, and that's a flam. Because now they can give that to whoever they want, and the public will have no idea how much of these permits to reside will be going out. And permits to reside includes the right to do business, the rights to do anything like a resident of this country. They will become like a resident. The only thing they won't have the authority to do is vote. That's a permit to reside. So we see the flam, we're catching on to it. We told them to go and apply to the court, so they applied to the court. They don't want to give us the credit because they want to make it seem like they're doing something. They feel that it would be promoting us. So they applied to the court. But the problem is they didn't have to apply to the court to demolish on any of the other family islands other than Abaco. If they were serious thinking of the demolish in Abaco, in Eleuthera, in Andros, in other family islands. In Abaco, they had to apply. But let me tell you what really happened with that application. It was a flam. They actually lost. Because what they got was Abaco is now treated like all of the rest of the family islands, where if they want to, they can demolish. It wasn't an order to demolish. They still ain't demolished yet. Because if it was me waiting for that order, I would have had the tractors in there today. If that order was on Friday, Saturday morning, we'd have been demolishing. You notice Brave ain't demolishing yet? Think he demolished tomorrow? The day after that? The day after that? No. Eventually, if you put enough pressure, they could try to find a few abandoned homes in the shanty town, like how Minus did when he first did it. He found a couple homes that was unfinished. It wasn't finished yet, and he went and demolished those because it didn't affect anyone who would pay government under the table. And so they trick you with these things. So the most they're going to do is go find some, or then go to some family and say, listen, we could put you and your family in an apartment. Let's demolish you so we can look good. But they're not going to go there and wipe those shiny towns out. They're not. It's not going to happen. It's a stall tactic. They think we're stupid. But what really happened was in New Providence and for New Providence, I'm still talking to you police officers because you got to understand why we're going out there. In New Providence, they actually got a restriction on them that wasn't on them before. Before it just said, just come to the course and tell us that you're going to be doing the demolition. Now there's a restriction that it must be a hazard to public health. It's hard to prove. But that's a restriction that wasn't there before. So actually, the government got handcuffs and they lost that case. They didn't win it. Because now, to touch anything in New Providence, they got to go to court and prove that there's a hazard to public health. So all the immigrants have to do is put in a cesspit, basically, and that one name over. Keep the yard clean, and that one name over. Are y'all awake? So I don't want you to feel like these stuff, and the government has talked about, I heard the Prime Minister talk about how they are repatriating persons, they're capturing persons. It's a lie. The U.S. Coast Guard, Cuba, and Turks and Caicos have been capturing these immigrants out to sea. Watch the news, ladies and gentlemen. The Bahamas government has been capturing no one. To sea or on land. No one. This Prime Minister is the Prime Minister of lies. I thought ministers could lie. This gentleman could lie. And they are only repatriating some of those caught out to sea. You see, y'all can calculate those numbers. But the ones who land in the Bahamas, and as you can see, obviously, they are new persons, because if a shanty town goes from 50 acres, and it didn't go from 50 acres. I went from about 5 acres. I was there. If it goes from 50 acres to 500 acres, that's like 4,000 homes if only one home on a lot. That's more than that. But if it goes to 500 acres, obviously more people are coming. But you're not sending them home. You're not even going there to look for them. It's a flam. They're bamboozling you. And this is why we have to stand up and fight, because this is getting serious, Bahamas. This is getting really serious. Don't trust anything that comes out of this Prime Minister's mouth. Remember, he told you that he would not allow the BC rates to go up. Remember, he told you that? Remember, he told you that he would not allow NIB to go up. I told you from after election and before election, whatever you hear him say, you know that that is not the truth. By the opposite of anything you hear come out of that Prime Minister's mouth. Anything you hear him say, you can go by the opposite of it. That's what you know is the truth, and that's what you know is going to happen. You see? He said they were gonna demolish shanty towns, and he came back and said, "Oh, if you demolish shanty towns, it's a humanitarian issue. You gotta have some place to put the people." I have a place to put them, Haiti. How about you put them there? Unless there are Bahamians there on that shanty town. We are inundated, and this is serious. And before our country is overrun, before our police are overrun, before our parliament is taken over and overrun by immigrants, we have to stand up. This is our last stand. And so for those police officers who are vilifying me, I'm fighting for you too. I'm fighting for you. But I told you this to let you know we are everywhere. There are Bahamian patriots in every single government office, in every government ministry. We are everywhere. And so we know that you are getting instructions from Brave. Bahamas, make sure you are there. This is the big stand. If we don't stand up now, it's all over. 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. You don't have to be on time because we could be out there for the day. 9 a.m. at the Bahama Convention Center. We're going to be on the streets just outside there. If you don't have anywhere to park, we're going to arrange busing from Goodman's Bay. We're going to have shuttles from Goodman's Bay if you want to park there. Now, there's parking lot at Bahama, which is a public place. But if you have a problem there, you can park at Goodman's Bay, and our shuttles will take you back and forth. We want to thank all of the persons who are flying in to New Providence for this. Yes, this is that serious. From the United States, there were persons who flew in from the United States for the last protest. From all of the family islands, Abaco, Grand Bahama, Exuma, etc. We want to thank you who are flying in to stand up for your Bahamas. We have to let them know that we do not accept what is happening in our country, and we do not agree to asylum. We do not agree to you allowing persons to flood our nation. We don't have enough hospital beds now. Somehow, when something happens with the illegal immigrants, they could find ambulance anytime. But for Bahamians, ambulance, we don't have enough police cars to deal with the problems we have now. How many times have you called and the police say, "Oh, well, we don't have a car, we got to wait for a car"? We don't have enough good streets now. For those officers who were trying to vilify me about this protest, What do we do? Just sit down for another 50 years until there are no Bahamians left? What do we do? This is our country. This is one of my heroes. Everyone has a role model. And by the way, we're also going out because Philip Brave Davis stole our Sovereign Wealth Fund from us by repealing the Sovereign Wealth Fund Act, by putting things in his own name. He robbed the Bahamian people. Are we supposed to just sit down and let this happen? Bahamas, y'all better stand up, They told you I was selling dreams, and then they took it all away from you. That's like your parents leave $1 million in a house for you, and the lawyer says, your brother hearing foolishly, your brother who say that your parents leave this stuff for y'all, he know what he's talking about. That's a bunch of foolishness. He's selling you dreams. And then the lawyer goes behind your back, give himself a fake power of attorney, and sign over that property and all that money to himself. Because you was mad at your brother because the lawyer tell you he was selling dreams. Wake up, Bahamas. This man right here is a man I modeled myself after. He's called Randall Fox. He was a real hero of the Bahamas. He was a real hero of majority rule. I don't know why they're going to Finland grave. They should be going to his grave, because without him, there would have been no majority rule. He was the man who refused a blank check for any amount of money he wanted. And he wasn't a rich man. He was suffering. He was broke. He couldn't even do his own thing. The UBP was victimizing him. They was obliterating him. They was doing this man right in. Doing him right in. Doing him in. This book is called Labor Unite or Perish. It's a compilation put together by Rosalie J. Fox, his wife. And Fox is a British name, like Guy Fawkes. It's a British name. Some people say that's a Haitian name. No, that's a British name. Very British. All right. It was put together by Rosalie Fox. I want to read. Can we have a little bedtime story moment? I want you to hear that the same things that they were fighting for in the 50s, we are fighting for today. The exact same things they were fighting for in the 50s. Hospital beds, the roads, jobs, the foreigners coming in. How long we keep going to the same cycle? Man, y'all, who need to go watch fellas run up and down in tights go? For the rest of y'all, I want y'all here. The words of Sir Randall Fox from before the majority of us was born. And you can see we ain't moved nowhere. It was actually better. Sir Randall Fox talked about before his day, 30 years before his day, even the poor Bahamians had it good because everyone had 3 acres and a cow. The dream that was promised to the Americans of 40 acres and a mule, Bahamians had that. Because everyone had 3 acres and a cow. And he said they piece by piece started taking their land. Man, y'all, the same things they've been fighting for, we still fighting for today. Because you only listen to him, you know why you only listen to him? They say he was too radical. They say he should have watched how he was saying things. All this written down. They say he had to be more respectful. He's an antagonist. That's why we're still fighting for it today. They lock him up for sedition. Let me first thing I read to you all of this. Before I get there, listen. We are going out to protest. We could be there. We're calling on all Bahamians to be with us. Make sure you're there. Right? There's no time to be playing around. Maybe if CARICOM can pay attention to it, they would realize that this needs to be taken seriously, and our Prime Minister can't just go lie on us and what we stand for. Fred Mitchell has arranged for PLPs to go and protest, him and his PR crew. They pull back when they realize it's going to make them look bad if they seem to be out there fighting against Bahamians who are fighting to stop illegal immigration. Notice only the PLP is standing up for this illegal immigration stuff. Only them fighting against the Bahamians who want illegal immigration to stop. Only the PLP is making noise because they're government in power and they're getting paid to do so. This shows you what the situation is. And so what they're going to do, he said he'll still see if any of the PLPs go there and support them, but he can let some of their trolls organize it so that if it goes bad, they could say, oh, they was just rogue people. They wasn't from us. That wasn't the party. That was Dave them. We in our grandfather's generation, eh? We want y'all to come to show the Bahamas how you are fighting against them. We'll be waiting. All right? Listen, we in some serious trouble. Well, anyway, and so much things to cover, but I got to end this live short today. Tuesday, we'll pick out so much things we got to cover. We still have a recording of an immigration meeting we need y'all to hear. We'll do that on Tuesday. All right? So, Randall Fox. The PLP has lost his way. I want to read some things to you. All right? I want to read some things. So I can read as fast as I could because I don't want to go past 5:30. All right? I'm going to read as fast as I could. All right? Make sure I'm missing none of you. All right? I'll read as fast as I could. This is page 11 of this book. This is page 11. This is April 30th, 1955. April 30th, 1955. That he said, and he used to call us Mr. and Mrs. Bahamas. He was such a patriot. That's Randall Fox. He said, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Bahamas. I'm going to start calling you that because this is your country. I love Randall Fox. And if you listen to his words, he's an amazing, wise man. But we fell for Pinland Sweet Talk. I think that we would have a much better country if Randall Fox had taken this. Based on my study of his actions and his words, he loved this country. He loved the Bahamian people. So did Pinland. But Pinland was more willing to sell out to the criminals and even to the UBP to a certain extent. This man proved that he would never sell out. He refused the blank. That's who I would have gone with. But Bahamians like bad treatment. He said, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Bahamas, your name may be next on the list of persons wanted by CID. CDU used to be called CID for the young people. He said, you are apparently safe today, but will you be safe tomorrow? When a police officer places a foreboding hand on your shoulder, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? The courts, naturally, and the way the judiciary is constituted. What stance will you have before a judicial structure that does not include even a court of appeal? They didn't have a court of appeal back in the day. But he was actually talking about the fact that he would be harassed by police, that they would be used as puppets and do their bidding. According to Paul Roll, the last commissioner of police, he said ministers made him do a lot of things he didn't want to do. He was a coward. He was, and now admittingly, a corrupt coward because he did what ministers instructed him to do and did ministers' evil bidding. And it is proof now that our police force was corrupt while he was there. That this stuff happens. He was corrupt. And he admitted that himself. I want to read, see if I can pull this up for you. I want to read what a little poem that Randall Fox cited. I want to read this poem, a little satire that he did, with apologies to A.G. Bennett, a Jamaican poet. This is from May 21st, 1955. Y'all stick with me. I'm going to tell you something. It said, after a time, when men of other lands possess our native strands, we'll have to climb the blue hills high to view sea waters warm and blue. after a time. After a while, such folk as you and I must pass the beaches by without a smile. For monstrous iron doors shall hide Bahamian shores after a while. There comes a day when only favored few shall have and play. The rest of us must look on beaches from a book. When comes that day? May I not stay in this land of the free? If in this azure sea I cannot play, I'd gladly go far away from where conventions bar me from the bay. He talked of a day where we would be pushed away from the beach. It sounded ridiculous at the time, but he said after a while, Bahamians will get pushed away. It came to pass. There's Randall Fox was a prophet. There's so much. I don't have time for all of it today, but Randall Fox was a prophet. He prophesied so many things that now are in existence. In this article, he was talking about the issues of their day. And in one part of it, he said, listen, Mr. Civil Servant, if you are wise, you will form a new organization of government workers. If you don't, you are going to be swamped by a flood of immigrants at the top. He was concerned about the immigrants from then who are going to come in and take over even our government ministries. This was the fight from that day. Jesus. I want to read this one, and I'm going to read this in full to you. Bahamas, please listen. Don't go nowhere. Please listen. Because they didn't listen to Randall Fox. And that's why we have all the problems that we have today. Y'all, please listen to this man's words from the grave. May 14, 1955. It says men wanted. And this is a message to all of our men. You know why? Because it was the women who were coming out. The women who were on the protests. The women who were on the marches. And he was like, we need strong men to stand up. You'll organize yourself. You'll get together. The men were the breadwinners, so they were cowards. They were afraid to get fired, lose their job, be seen. And he was like, men, if you don't stand up, we going. God, please listen to the words I'm about to read to you. His listen, Abaco. He said, listen, Abaco, Andros, and Aucklands. Listen, Cat Island and Crooked Island. Our greatest need today is men. No, not prima donnas, but men. Stout-hearted men who know what is right and are willing to stand up for it. Who know what is wrong and are willing to fight against it. Listen, Grand Bahama and Bimini, search amongst yourselves and find men to represent you. Sons of the soil, you must have before your burdens can be eased and your labors rewarded. You need them. Your children need them. The Bahamas needs them. Listen, Harbor Island and Inagua. Listen, Long Island, San Salvador and Rum Key. Leadership is needed today to strengthen what is right in your town and to stamp out what is wrong. Too long have you carried the torch for false prophets and those in sheep's clothing. Talk over the idea with compatriots in your land, and the result will surprise you. Deep down in the heart of every man, there's a binding sympathy which needs only contact with another to produce some tangible result. Delay no more. Start today to look for a leader. Listen, Mr. Out Islander, there are roads in the native lands of your brothers which were better 100 years ago than they are today. See, they was talking about the roads. There are pathways that are deep in mud, rendering them impassable. The horse pond is close to the spring well. and dung oozes into it. The walls of the public schools are black from neglect, and dirt and filth covers the rotten floors. This is where the leaders of tomorrow are reared. This is where an infant spends a large part of the day sprawled on the floor with a bit of bread in his hand. This might be your child. Tell me, Mr. Out Islander, suppose your son was suddenly taken ill. Is there a doctor nearby? Ooh. Suppose your wife needed a serious operation performed. Could you obtain a bed in the hospital? Wow. He must have been in a time machine. He says, don't answer this. After all, this is only 1955. I do not mean to offend, but tell me, is a sincere effort being made by your representative to improve the health of your community? Is provision made for poor children, the aged, and the crippled? The Bay Street Boys will call me bad names, just like they do with me. They were vilifying him. They call him everything except the child of God, everything you could name. The Bay Street Boys will call me bad names for asking these questions. They will say I am an agitator, but all I want to know is whether after 200 years of representation, there is in place a system of local government. Are you a part of the decision-making process? Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Bahamas. Are your schools spacious, properly equipped, and in good condition? Are your teachers qualified and paid well? Please tell me, do your representatives take steps to have families decently housed? Is there continuous planning for the improvement of residential areas, parks, and roads? Are good jobs available? Do labor, industry, agriculture, and government work together to ensure the sound economic growth of your community? Are dangerous tensions kept at a minimum by the avoidance of discrimination and injustice? You will say that I am wasting your time. But Mr. and Mrs. Bahamas, these questions are standards by which the work for any representative can be measured. Honestly, answer them and you will know who not to re-elect. Avoid the answers to these questions and you will sell yourselves and your children further into slavery. Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Bahamas. How come the Bahamian project workers on the United States farms pay 2.5% income tax when the rich banks, insurance companies, and other multinational investors are required to pay not 1 cent income tax? Pray tell me, it has been said that money is blood. The more it circulates, the more healthy the community becomes. But the Bahamian people's money is like ice. And by the time it passes through so many hands on the way to the worker, it is all melted. That is why I say, Mr. and Mrs. Bahamas, we need men who are closer to the people, men who are willing to step out in the vanguard and speak out. And when necessary, to talk back to authority. We need strong men and women, too, who will see in every obstacle an opportunity, in every difficulty a challenge, and in every block a stepping stone. We need men who dare to shout no to the dictator's demand for his vote. Tell him that you don't want his 5 pounds or sack of flour. Tell him that you are fed up with the lecherous activities of the corrupt syndicate. If you accept 5 pounds or sack of flour in exchange for your vote, soon the trumpet will blow and you will shout, which way is the promised land? The New Bahamas. And the mocking voice of tyranny will reply, you've had it, brother. You've had it. Then you will realize the extent of your folly. But the expression of this clarion call for men needs the mind of the poet Holland, who wrote, God give us men. A time like this demands strong hearts, true faith, and ready hands. Men whom the lust of office does not kill, men whom the spoils of office cannot buy, men who possess opinion and a will, or who possess opinion and a will. Sorry, I can't see this clearly. Men who have honored, men who will not lie, men who can stand before a demagogue and damn his treacherous flattery without winking. Tall men, sun-crowned men who live above the fog in public duty and in private thinking. Look around for these men, and when you have found them, select them as your leaders. To this I say, amen. These are the words of Sir Randall Fox, a giant of a man, a giant. There's some more I want to read to you about what he talked about, and I mean this other one that he did on May 28, 1955, beware lest you be the victim of your own complacency. He talks about how they will sweet you up, sweet talk you, buy you out, stall you, and then you will end up in slavery. They'll make it look like they're giving you something. They'll give you crumbs. He talks a lot about the crumbs that politicians would give. And how they give you crumbs, make you complacent, give you the loan, give you a little bill, a little job, and then you end up a slave again. He talked about so many things that it was mind-blowing. There's so much I want to say to you, but I'm going to leave it there. He also talked about how they vilified him. They told him he needed to ease up. He was too radical. He was too radical. There's a lot more I'm going to read to you. And go and get this book. Go and get The Faith That Moved Mountains. And go and get this book here. It's called Labor, Unite or Perish. This will give you a good look into history and what they went through in those days and what we are going through now. It's amazing. I just want to read you one little more, and then I'll be out of here so you can go to your Super Bowl. But the issues have not changed. I wanted to read more of this. The issues have not changed. The immigration issues, the roads, the hospitals, the education, the corruption. They were getting more back then because £5, if you read another story, you realize that £5 was a week wages that they gave to hotel workers during the summer, during the winters. And then they gave them about £3 during the summer when it was slower. And so £5 is what you got a week. So they gave you a week wages to buy your vote. Today they giving you $50 in a t-shirt. At least they were selling out for a little more. They got a week wages. A normal week wages. Sure selling out for $50 in a t-shirt. They got a week wages or a bag of flour. Oh my God. Let me just read this last thing and we'll touch on some other stuff later. I ain't watching no Super Bowl. I read you. I'm going to be planning for the New Bahamas. One of the strangest contradictions, this is on April 23rd, 1955, labor and the unfair distribution of wealth. He was talking about the poverty and the disparity from those days. And we're still concerned about it now today. All right. Well, before I read it, I'll just read you from April 16. This is a little piece. It says, this is a different one. Then, gentlemen, delay no more. Refuse to accept the crumbs from a platter. Stand up and act like men. That's what he's saying to the Bahamian people. Stop taking the crumbs from the platter, man. Stand up and be men. Unite now for a better tomorrow, he says. There are others who understand your plight and are willing to help you. All of you, the boatman, the carpenter, everybody else, I'm going to skip over. All right? He says, on this subject, I do not wish to think, speak, or write with moderation. Because they told him he needs to speak with more moderation. He is too violent, agitates too much. And he cusses. He says, damn, when he speaks. That wasn't acceptable in those days. On this subject, I do not wish to think, speak, or write with moderation. Tell the man whose house is aflame to give a moderate alarm. Tell him whose wife is in the arms of a rapist to rescue her moderately. Tell the mother to moderately rescue her babe from the path of a fast approaching automobile. But urge me not to use moderation in arousing long oppressed Bahamian laborers. I will write until labor's cause is heard, until Bahamian labor proves that it has the guts to organize, and the government the integrity to bargain honestly. There is no safety for anyone except in freedom for all. The same issues. Stop taking the crumbs. Stand up. You know, they say, oh, he was gaslighting. That's what they would have said if he was alive today. Oh, he's gaslighting. He's overreacting to everything. That's what they said. This is another one, April 23rd, 1955. One of the, he says, I'm going to skip to the second paragraph. It's page 4. There was a time when the total revenue I'll read it from the first paragraph, right? One of the strongest contradictions of our times is the tendency toward the increase of poverty in the face of increasing wealth. So the country making more and more money. There's a lot of money in the country. He goes on. One would think that as the general revenue of the colony increases, the condition of the working men and women would improve automatically, but such is not the case. So in other words, he was saying, but the country getting richer, but the people, the Bahamian people who work we ain't feeling that. He said there was a time when the total revenue of this island was only 25,000 pounds. So the total revenue of the entire island, of the entire Bahamas, was 25,000 pounds. Can you imagine? That's 1955 he's talking. Today, the revenue is roughly 3 million pounds. That's 1955. If we were to investigate Bahamian life 30 years ago, we would find that land values were not as high in proportion to the income of the masses. And consequently, the gap between the rich and the poor was not as wide as it is today. In those days, each person had his proverbial 3 acres and a cow. Wow. And the majority of the people had leisure enough to devote to the finer things of life, the reading of good books, the love of music, and the appreciation of intelligent conversation. Wow. And the people of Bahamas were living so good that they had time to do what they enjoyed, to love themselves, to love their country. That is all we want. People say, oh, if you give everyone, let them benefit from their natural resources, everyone is going to get lazy, etc., etc. No, they have time to do what they love, and they're going to be more productive. I'm fighting for the same thing that Randall was fighting for. He says, between the years of 1930 and 1955, there was a gradual speculation in land. Speculation in land means, say, buying up, taking up all the land, or buying it, or stealing it, right? But speculation just means that they're taking the land. The gentry created large estates, and at times, with the help of government, wrested from the poor even the small tracts which had been handed down from one generation from another. The government was helping them take land from the Bahamians. This continues to this day, y'all. We still fighting the same fight to this day. The recent Oaks land deal is a classic. Harry Oaks. Oaks land deal is a classic example of extortion from the poor to benefit the rich. And they put up a monument in his honor. We taking that down. These working people have been deprived of their land, were driven to work for little or nothing, and in doing so, a way was paved for their eventual enslavement by the powerful interests. They keep you poor and keep you poor, so if you didn't want to sell your land, you have to sell it, or if they take it from you, you didn't have the money to go to court and challenge them and fight them. Do you see, Bahamas? Do you see what we're fighting for? Officers who were in Comstat, who are vilifying me. Are you understanding what I'm fighting for? That I am fighting for what Pinlin and Randall Folks and Marlo Butler fought for. We have to make the Bahamas great again. We have to carry on their legacy. What Ingram and Christie and Minnis and Davis have stolen from and are stealing from us, we must restore the Bahamian people. This is our fight. Because they were fighting, I won't read the rest of it, I'll read it another time. They were fighting for labor, for us to be able to work. Because he talked about the three segments of wealth, the three segments of capitalist society, which is land, capital, and labor. He talked about it in his book. And it is in Wealth of Nations, which the book I showed you a few lives ago, where capitalism comes from. Land, which the wealthy own, and they make money from their rents and the business that goes on the land. Capital, which the finances own, they keep all the money. And then the labor, you do all the work. And you become a slave to the first two. And the first two work together to keep you poor. That is what he talked about in his book. But there's a new philosophy. That is the new Bahamas, where the Bahamians will benefit from their land, from their natural resources. And we will not be the lower class anymore. The foreigners who come in to work for us will be. We are not saying that no foreigners should come to this country. We will need Filipinos to come and work for us. We will need Haitians and Jamaicans to come and work for us. But the difference is they will come and work for us because the natural resources will be taken from our land. What they did to take power from you was take the land from you. The slave masters left the land for Bahamian people. They stole it away from them. Don't you see it? He said, everyone had their 3 acres and a cow. How's the norm? You need something, so you go there, you go fishing, you go sell your fish, you go sponging, you do whatever, you relax. Because you had your 3 acres. And they started to make you so poor that you had to sell your land. They started to take that land from you. And because you couldn't read or write, because they kept you uneducated, because you didn't know what was going on, they get you to sign over stuff to them. Bahamas, y'all stand with me. The evolution has begun. What I am doing, I'm doing for a good cause. I'm doing this to transform this generation. This is the fight of the new Bahamas. This is Bahamianization 2.0. The real Bahamianization, which is not us being slaves or labor, which was their fight. This is us being the owners. They couldn't see how we could be the landowner or the financer, because the financiers would only give to the landowners, and the financiers wouldn't give to the lower class. And so they wanted us to just have a fair shake, to get jobs, and then to work together. And by pulling together, we would get stuff done. That's a 100-year process. But if they had known that if we just owned the land was the power. The natural resources are in the land. We are now being replaced as labor. If it's land, capital, and labor, and now we're being replaced as labor, because the educated Bahamians are constantly replaced by foreign expats. When the companies come, they put their own people in place. And many of our educated people are going away. And then the laboring Bahamians, they lie and say Bahamians don't want to work as an excuse so that they don't have to hire us, or as an excuse to bring in these illegal immigrants. Let me show you something. The construction industry said Bahamians don't want to do construction. That's a lie. It's a fail. They want to. You're not hiring them. Let me tell you one of the reasons they don't hire Bahamians in construction. Because a lot of contractors, a lot of them, not all, but a lot of contractors, because of bad money management, they end up owing their workers a lot of times. They don't manage the money as they get it in. Or sometimes some might be, building house for someone else while they're building your house and they overstretch and they can't pay you. I experienced that. And so when they do that, the Bahamian can complain, give them hell, or sue them. The Haitian illegal immigrant can't complain, can't sue them, they can't go to court. What God they going to do? And so they have to put up with whatever and just keep working and hope they get a little piece of what is owed to them. Remember in Palm Key, the contractor there was arrested for murder because the Haitian man who he owed money to came, just asked him, man, just give me money, man, I have my family. Have my family to take care of. Just daddy, just give me something. And your man just shoot him. That's why. It's not because Bahamians don't want to work. Bahamians built Atlantis. Bahamian workers. Yeah, they brought some Mexican, but Bahamian workers built Atlantis. I was there as a police officer working. We want to work. We are tired of you taking our opportunities from us. Tell us we don't want to do yard. We don't want to farm. There are 700 Bahamian farmers in this country. Over 700. They don't want to tell you that. I'm talking about licensed farmers in this country. Oh, Bahamians don't want to farm? They don't want to do landscaping? Who's on the side of the roads doing the roads? It's Bahamians. Bahamians will do anything. You'll stand in the garbage truck and pick up your garbage 2 o'clock in the morning. It's a lie. I'm standing up for Bahamians, and many people won't like it. Many people won't understand it. And I'm not looking to be understood. I'll read the letter from Birmingham jail. Martin Luther King wrote that to the church. He was telling them he's an outsider. He's out of order. Why is he, coming into this town and getting himself in trouble? And he's out. The same things they said about Randall Fox, not knowing what to do and what to say. We respect Martin today, but in his day, everyone marched him out. They lied on him. They brought all kind of scandal about him. So he's a womanizer. Used to have raunchy sex in hotel rooms. All kind of scandals. You see them posting all kind of stuff in the newspaper. The FBI was against him. They were sending fake love letters to his wife. There's going to be vicious attacks against me. Vicious. Lies. I don't have time to focus on them. If you want to focus on them, if you want to pass them around and that's on you, I have one objective. The Bahamanization 2.0. The new Bahamas. There's a lot of distractions, and everyone who decided to take a stand had to go to this. Everyone. I can't focus on it today because I've gone too long. Fred Mitchell put out a statement, and I don't even focus on him, and he, in his statement, he called me an SOB. I just have to address that because he called me a son of a bitch. Fred Mitchell did. Calling me a son of a bitch means that you're saying something about my mother. Fred Mitchell, I give you one more opportunity to change your ways and be a diplomatic member of parliament in this country. I'm not going to answer to a man who says something like that about my mother, and it took me a couple of days to respond to you, Fred Mitchell. It took me a couple of days to respond to you, but I realized that I'm not going to answer someone who has had sex with more men than my mother did. I'm not going to answer you. I think instead of doing a whole voice about Lincoln Bean and the police officers doing a whole Comstock meeting the whole day about Lincoln Bean, I think you all need to concentrate on the issues of this country. You did a whole voice note calling me the devil. Now they're talking about people who disrespected Brave Davis. And I agree, some of the statements were disrespectful. But no one will stand up to the leaders of the PLP, the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, who is talking about a former judge because she disagrees with some things that he is saying and doing, calling all manner of names, who disrespected a governor general, calling her all manner of things, who constantly disrespect me, calling me the devil and all manner of things. It don't bother me, you don't move me at all. Fred Mitchell don't move me at all. But what bothers me is that people will still vote for that. That instead of members of the PLP defending Lady Pinlin, not because she's entitled to anything, but because she is a Bahamian who should not be disrespected like that. You know what? Fred Mitchell said, I do this and I do that and I do the next thing. Fred Mitchell, you're controlling the police. If I've done something wrong, you send them for me, eh? Other than that, shut up and get to the business of this country. Now, I'm letting you off this time because I have to be focused on CARICOM. Yes, we come in for CARICOM to let them know that our country is in trouble. We have a right to protest. So I'm not going to answer Fred Mitchell. Bahamas, I'm just going to ask you to wake up and to keep talking to your family and friends. Keep talking to them. They're going to come on board. They're going to realize. They're going to start to feel what's going on. I want to say this to you. This is a call for all Bahamians to unite. All of us. Black, white, whatever you are. If you are Bahamian, I'm calling on you to unite. The new Bahamas is for the benefit of all Bahamians. If you allow them to keep us separate, if you third-party leaders decide you want to stay separate for whatever egotistical reason, if you, the Bahamian voter, if you allow them to keep us split between PLP and FNM, you're going to keep the same cycle that was going on from Randall Folks Day. It's time for a new Bahamas. And the only way you will have that is if we unite. The PLP had meetings recently, and they said they got to go after me in Pinewood. That they got to spend millions of dollars in Pinewood to make sure that I don't get into the House of Assembly. They called in, what's his name, Larota, and told him he got to get to work. They're going to pump the money into him because their biggest concern is me in the House of Assembly. I want to say to all the people of Pinewood Gardens, Pinewood Gardens is who I am. Pinewood Gardens is who you are. Pinewood Gardens shaped the man that I am today. It shaped me into a courageous, intelligent young man who does not fear anything that they could bring from me. I am street smart and book smart. I have lots of experience. Pinewood made me the man that I am. Surviving Pinewood made me the man that I am. Playing basketball on Pinewood Park, learning my social skills made me the man that I am today. Some of the amazing, talented men and women in Pinewood Gardens made me the man that I am today. I'm asking y'all to put aside party politics this one time and let's see. Let's see. So they're calling around now, offering people jobs. Larota was actually out campaigning on yesterday, actually. Um, they're calling around and offering people jobs. They're gonna make sure they have the back to school giveaways, the Christmas giveaways, and all that. That's your money. Take it. But let's try something different. Just one time. We need something new. We need something new. Yep. They're gonna give you the jobs. Take it. That's yours. Yep. They're gonna offer you lots of money. Take it. That's yours. But guess what? Just know that that is only happening because a Pinewood man is a threat to them. Remember, I told you this a couple months ago? That because I am a threat to them, they're going to have to cater to you. They're not doing it because they love you. And as soon as the threat is moved, because you vote for them again, I ain't got time for this. As soon as the threat is moved, they could be worse than they were before. Don't fall for their tricks. Take the jobs, take the money because that's yours. But we got to stand up. They've been swinging us back and forth over and over. And so they think that the £5 and a bag of flour is going to buy you. And maybe it will. But if it does, let the suffering continue. Pinewood, they are going to flood you. If they're just afraid of a Pinewood man getting in the house, they ain't just afraid of me being prime minister, They're afraid of me getting in that house because I know the power of a member of parliament. That's what they're afraid of. You'll stand with me and you'll stand up. You hear me? Stand with me and you'll stand up and let's unite. I am going to take, what time is it? It's 5:30. All right, so I'm just going to take a few minutes. I'm going to take a few minutes and open the phone lines for you. If anyone has anything to say, how do you feel about the police having a whole meeting on me with all this crime going on? How do you feel about that? The number is 804-4264, 804-4264. I think we've lost. Oh, you can't. Can you see me? It looks like you can't see me. Is my live blocked? Okay, I don't know what's going on. Something is going on. Jesus. I don't know if you could see me. It looks like everything is free, is frozen. Let me just take a quick look and see if you can still hear me, but you just can't see me. But it looked like this whole thing has been attacked. Oh, I can look right from here. It looks like the whole live has been attacked. Let me see. Okay. All right. I see that you can still hear me. Oh, you just can't see me. I don't know what went down with that. Just give me 1 sec. Let me see what I could alter here. Let me see what's happening here. What's happening? Okay. Wow. Everything on my end is blanking out. Oh. Okay, let's see. Yep, our live is under attack. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think you may still be able to hear me. We don't know what's happening here. We're trying to reset this whole thing. Gonna give it one more try. The video started playing just now, and we don't even know how that video played. Um, I am 100% sure that this device is hacked um, because I wasn't even standing near the computer when that video started to play. So we know that there's a serious problem here. And I just wanted you to be here to witness all of this. So let's see what's going on. This is particularly strange. Okay, look like stuff is back up. Wow. So you should be able to still hear me, but there's no video. Okay, you're just seeing dark. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this whole thing is going absolutely berserk on us. Okay, don't know what's happening here. Okay. Okay, so basically we have been hacked. I don't want to start this over again because we've been going for so long. Um, I see that you should be able to see me on a different camera now. I don't know if you can see me or it's still dark. But you should be able to see me. Let me see if you can. No, you can't. All you're seeing is black. Okay. Okay, so basically we've been hacked. All right. So where's this camera? Yeah. Something very strange is going on. There's another camera in this room. That is not a camera of mine, but is actually showing up on my screen. That's amazing. There's literally another camera. I gotta take a screenshot of this. Listen, Bahamas, I want you to understand, I know you can't hear me right now. I'm gonna take a picture of this extra camera that's showing up on my screen, and there's no camera that I have that is pointed where this camera is pointed. And so this is particularly shocking. It's like they are doing another feed, and somehow they're able to see in this room. This is shocking. So yeah, everything is gone haywire. I want you to understand and know that if in any event that something happens to me, I would never commit suicide. That would never ever happen. All right. Under no circumstances, I am not a give up type person. That will never happen. And so, if for some reason they tell you that that is the case, it's a lie. All right. They tell you I was in a car accident, a robbery, any of those things, it's not the truth. If they told you they found some drugs or bullets in my car or any place I'm staying, it's a lie. I'm too close to the New Bahamas. If they told you I raped some woman, it's a lie. Just stay focused. They're going to try a lot of things in the coming days. They're going to try a lot of things in the coming days. We don't know what's happening here. They're going to try a lot of things. Okay, I think we're up. That other camera has disappeared that we were talking about. That has disappeared. I see that we are up and running. It doesn't look like it's as clear as it was. All right. So, all right. The phone number is 804-4264. Boy, I know it's almost Super Bowl time. But I'm glad you're witnessing this, and this is not us telling you a story. And I just want all of you to know. I want you to know and to understand very clearly. There are some people who want to hold on to power. There are some people who are desperate to hold on to power. They're desperate. And we are a threat to them. We are an existential threat to their power and their power play. Bahamas, if you know you are right on the verge of all of your dreams. And like Sir Randall Fox said, if you want to live your dreams, then you got to wake up. This country is a wealthy nation. Pinland said it. They're going to try everything. They're going to try to spread all kind of lies. And I see all these lies out there, but I can't spend my time answering these lies. I can't. I have to stay focused on the prize. But I can see the Bahamans are not falling for their tricks. But they don't have anything other tricks in their bag, so that's all they can come with. Bahamas, stand with me. Stand with me. This is a God move, and so I believe. I believe. I do have an agenda, and it was the same agenda of Randall Fox. And if only we had listened to him, that is for every Bahamian to benefit from our nation. You take a phone call. Wow. They literally have a camera hidden in this room, and the stream literally came on the screen. I took a screenshot of it. I'm going to show you it in a minute. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bain. How are you, sir?
I am awesome, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Derek Benjamin Demerit Jr. I want you to be encouraged, sir. God is with you.
Thank you, man.
And it don't matter what they have to do or what they are thinking about, what they are trying to plot. At the end of the day, no weapon formed against you will prosper. You see, because you are in the God class. And at the end of the day, you are doing exactly what God desires to be done inside the earth realm. You see?
Yeah.
But with respect to the two books that you were reading out of, where can we find those books?
I don't know where these books are published. They should be in our bookstores. Check logos and check all of our bookstores. One is called Labor Unite, and Labor Unite or Perish is Randall Fox. And another one is a book he wrote, which is called The Faith That Moves Mountains. And so this book that I read is actually is a companion to The Faith That Moves Mountains. So it's some of his writings, etc.
Very good. Well,
And it gives you a really good view of history, and it puts stuff in perspective to what they were fighting for and what really happened behind the scenes that you won't see on the news, that they really don't talk about. It really lets you see what was really going on, man.
It makes it easier for us to pick up the mantle because we are not aware of what actually takes place. You see,
Yes.
because again, you already know that they hide certain things because they don't want to be transparent about nothing anyhow. So a lot of the things they are holding from us, you see. And so
Yes.
once we're able to read this information, store this information, and we'll be able to regurgitate the information and echo. That's what I believe in. I want to
Yes.
echo his words so that it can be heard inside the atmosphere and we'll be able to walk and push through in true authority, you see.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree.
appreciate you though. You're doing an excellent job. You, Maria Jackson and Charlotte Green and the rest of everyone is doing a wonderful job. Be encouraged. God is with you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. All right, have a nice day.
We're going to be here. Thank you, man.
Yes,
So 804-4264 if you want to call in. We'll be off before the Super Bowl starts. 804-4264 if you want to call in. Yep, there's a camera in this room that I'm going to have to find, and somehow the camera is connected through the internet, and the stream actually came onto the software now, and we were able to see it. I'm going to show you in a second. I mean, this is royal. Good afternoon. You're live.
Good night, Mr. Bain. Good evening.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Bain, at that march on Wednesday, I think I saw a miracle. The police had instructions to let you and Maria Jackson go in Parliament upstairs. They kept you all from going in.
Yes.
And the crowd chanted for about 5 to 10 minutes. Let them in. And for some strange reason, Jehovah God must have touched the Speaker of the House ears, because she sent a police down, telling them, let you in. And when the FNM and PLP saw you and Maria come upstairs, I think that's the first miracle they ever saw. Thank you and good night.
Wow. Thank you, man. Thank you. 804-4264 is the number. 804-4264. And I'm supposed to put it on the screen, right? Literally trying to put this thing on the screen. Wow. Wow. 804-4264. I am going to find that additional camera that they have in here. I can see where it looks like it's coming from. It looks like it's the camera looks like Good afternoon, you're live. Good afternoon, you're live.
Mr. Man, you know, we had a boat land here in Eleuthera. Either it's Friday or Saturday.
Yes.
And we have illegals here again. Something has to be done.
Yeah. Well, you got to stand with me. You got to stand with me. And all of us Bamans got to stand together. All of us. All right? All of us have to stand together.
I've been with you for a long time, and I'm still with you, my brother. And trust me, God has ordained you for such a time as this. So just keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. And God bless.
God bless.
So, all right. So this is the view that you're seeing now. This is the camera. I just took a picture of the screen. This is the view that you're seeing now. So yeah, there's supposed to be two cameras because one is my computer, the view from my computer, and the other one is the view from the device in front of me. So that's why you're seeing two devices right now. Because I had to try to get the device up because my computer was hacked and it was shut down. Lines were going all across it. This is what I was seeing earlier when I took a picture. This camera that you see on the screen right here, this view is pointing down at the ground. All right, this is pointing down at the ground. This is the table that I'm sitting at. And this is on the right-hand corner, there's the book on the table. There's the book that's on the table. And so the camera is coming from a side angle somewhere in front of me. And I think it's coming from a light or something that I have standing up in the room. But there's a hidden camera in this room. I'm literally actually in my bedroom. That's where I'm doing this from today. As you can see, the background is different from previously. And they have a camera, a hidden camera in here. And that's what you're seeing here. That's what's on the screen. And you can see lines, a bunch of lines on the screen. So there's a hidden camera, but somehow the view came on the screen as they were hacking it. And I have to find out where this camera is. So after we finish with the live, I'm going to look for that. But I am being spied on. I don't know how this would have gotten into this feed also. But that's the camera I was seeing, and I have I have all of my devices, and none of them were pointing in that direction. And so I'm going to figure out exactly where that device is. I'm going to search for that as soon as I get off this live. And so they've put, I don't, as you can see, I moved the live around. Someone says, do your live somewhere else. This is the first time I've done the live in this room. It's first time. And maybe thank God I did, because now I can see that there's something going on in here. All right. And so we are in a serious fight, and there's billions of dollars at stake. And there are some people, Philip Brave Davis and others, who don't want you to benefit. He told me that himself, and he has taken away your sovereign wealth fund. He has taken it away. Listen, I just feel, let me just take a quick look while y'all are on. Let me just take a quick look, a quick browse, so that I can see something. I want to see if I can see where the direction of where the camera is, and how they were able to do that. So y'all just stand by with me for 1 second while I look at the angle where I was coming from. Y'all just bear with me for 1 second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious battle that we have signed up for, and we just want you to know that we're ready for this. We're ready for this. We're ready, and we're going to fight until the last drop. And so, again, to the police officers who feel that the country is going to be embarrassed on Wednesday. Sometimes you need a little embarrassment to bring change, you know. Sometimes even us as people, we don't change until we get embarrassed. And so I don't think we're going to be embarrassed. I think we're going to show democracy in its full effect. We're going to see democracy in full effect. And that's all we're going to see. There's going to be all kind of plots against us. So you all just prepare for it. The government is going to try every little trick in the book. So I'm glad that Pinewood is going to benefit because people hurting in Pinewood. So I'm glad because of a Pinewood man, they can offer jobs. And that's when you stand up, When you stand up, they have to do something because they want to keep power. They want to keep power. And Randall Fox talked about it in this group. Every time they stood up, the government would have to change this or change that. And he talked about the little changes that they fought for, and they would go out and protest. And some people would think, oh, protest ain't making no sense, but you see the little changes. They'll have to do something. And that's how we got everything done. So just come and sign up with me. Wednesday, 9 o'clock in the morning. Like I said, if you can't get a good ride, and we're already we're going to send out correspondence to international media and stuff to let them know that we are going to be there and what we're going to be doing and why. Because the Bahamian people want. Listen, I can see. You can see. I'm a little lost for words because while I'm talking, you really looking around me. I'm still trying to locate the camera. Good afternoon. You're live.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. President.
How you doing?
President, I'm good, My name is Darren Stubbs. Darren Lewis Stubbs. And I'm sure that you might have known by now that my father is in that book, The Faith That Moved the Mountain.
Yes, and, your father was the one who actually got the check.
Yes, my father was the one who got the check, and my father was the one who tore the check.
Yes.
And he approached Sir Randall Fox with the torn check, and Sir Randall basically asked him, why did you do it? And my dad said so that he was tempted, and he didn't want Sir Randall to be tempted. And Sir Randall asked him the question, who should we go with, John? What are you thinking about? My dad was the one who said, let's give the pivot nose a chance. Let's give them our vote from the Workers' Party. Because there was a tie between the PLP and the UVP. Now, on top of that, I tell the story of my dad before my dad passed away, before the last election. My dad told me that he saw a lion trotting down Bay Street. And as the lion trotted down Bay Street, the lion was looking left and right because there were persons out front of the stores hunting those lions. And he said he had this dream for 3 weeks. Every time he laid his head down, he had the same dream. It's this big old lion. And he said, in the third time that he had the dream, he realized that the store owners were pulling the persons that were handing out the flyers and pulled them in, that the store owners were foreigners also, even the ones who were handing out the flyers. He said the lion looked at them with resentment. The lion got into Rawson Square. Right on Bay Street, and the lion turned around. The lion looked at Malabama Bus and nodded his head and closed his eyes with a slight. And then the lion looked at Queen Victoria's statue and roared and walked towards Parliament door. When the lion got to Parliament's door, the officer saw the lion coming. My dad said, the officer saw the lion and the officer opened the door swiftly. And the lion rushed up against the officer, letting the officer know that, hey, I didn't come here for you. I said, the lion trod upstairs and learned to banging on the tables like a party going on. So when the lion pushed open the door, they all look at the lion. With silence. And the lion roared. And the lion spoke as a man, protect the Bahamas and the Bahamian people, otherwise kill the house. My dad said they were taking their time and looking at the lion with the demon again. And the lion roared, and before they could do anything, the lion was on the table. He knocked the cell phones and laptops out of their hands and notepads out of their hands. And they ran underneath the table. The lion did the same thing on the next side of the aisle. And then run towards the speaker's desk, jump on the speaker's desk, and roar again. Protect the Bahamas and the Bahamian people, otherwise get out of the house. And they were getting their stuff together. And as they were getting their things together, the lion jumped up the speaker's desk and stood up as a man. The lion stood up as a full-grown man. My daddy said to me, he said, son, I'm a PLP. I've been a PLP for many, many years. He said, my house burned down in 67 while I was on Windsor Park singing before Finland came on. There was a big explosion. The house burned down. He said, from the time my house burned down, the PLP never gave me a copper or helped me to rebuild. There were promises, promises, promises. He said, son, I'm not strong enough to tell my story. I'm not strong enough to tell my story. He said to me, he said, Pendon and Wallace Whitfield Jr. is rolling over in their grave because of the way that our country is being run today. He said they wouldn't believe how our senior citizens and everybody's being mistreated. My daddy said the members of parliament began to run down the stairs out of parliament. And when they run downstairs, what they saw in Parliament Square were more lions than they could ever imagine. More lions than they could ever imagine. But my dad said, but the lion that jumped up the speaker steps and stood up on the man was that boy, Lincoln Bain. Lincoln Bain. He said, son, lions will rise up in this country and defend. That's why you were here. I'm not mentioning the other person who was with me because they were there and they were telling the same story. He said, lions will rise up. He said, son, you are a part of it. You're a part of it. Fight with all your might to protect this Bahamas. The man I saw who had the spirit of a lion on him was that man, that boy, Lincoln Bay.
Thank you, man.
The man I saw who had the, yes, you're being charged, Mr. President. That man. You're being charged.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. 804-4264. 804-4264. Yeah, I believe it's a camera in that light right there. Sorry, I missed your call. I think I found where the device is. Yeah, sorry, but I didn't go right back. Some folks just came in to assist me. And so I was distracted just now. 804-4264 is the number. But based on the angles, that's the only electronic device that was right there. That's where that could have happened. Again, thank you for that story. Thank you for that amazing story. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. We know we're in the middle of a war, so we need all hands on deck. All right, we're gonna go to the phone lines. Good afternoon, you're live. Good afternoon.
I was trying to call in. I thought someone was blocking the phone just now.
No.
I texted you and said I thought they was blocking up the phone.
No.
But I called this afternoon to say, why do we have an immigration department or immigration office? An immigration office is simply to prevent for foreigners to come and either to be permanent, temporary, or whatever, or give citizenship or whatever. Okay, we've stopped the permit. Something to think about. Or immigration is to stop the illegal, or as a barrier to control the illegal immigration. They are not doing any of them. They've stopped the work permit. They're not gathering up the illegals. They're not going to island to island. What are they there for? Just to make money off the backs of foreigners and invade our land? And they're not destroying the shanty towns. Why is that? On the island nor here. Why are they there? Why do we have immigration officers if they're not doing their jobs, sir? Mr. President, Why are they there? Keith Bell, all you do is talk in Parliament and do nothing on the ground. And do nothing to safeguard this country. Nothing at all.
You
I
are
will
correct.
be there. I will be there on Wednesday. I might come 1 or 2 days, but I can't come every day. But I will be there. Me and my group.
Thank you so much.
We are supporting you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank
Don't
you.
mind what the naysayers say. We support you. The Bahamian people are supporting you.
Yes.
It may not look that way, but we are supporting you. We are praying for you, and we will back you to Parliament. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Yeah, I can actually see where a recessed light fixture was tampered with. That's right above and it's at an angle, pointing exactly in this direction. Yeah. That's a recessed light. It's actually pointed right at the same angle that we could see. So we're going to look in all of these things for a device. And we had a person try to break in the other day. He didn't get in. So I don't know if he got in another day, but someone is always here. But the place is so big that, I won't say anything else. But ladies and gentlemen, over the last 3 years, we've been showing you all the evidence of how valuable this country is and how much it's worth. They told you we were selling dreams, and now you can see that they've lied to you. Because they tried to take what I was talking about and give it to FTX and give it to themselves. And so you're about to see all of that exposed. Ladies and gentlemen, you can continue to believe the same people who've been raping and robbing you for all these years, or you can give something new a chance. Some people say, oh, they're going to do the same thing. We are going to take this country back and give it to the Bahamian people. That is a promise. Why? Because we're going to benefit too. Our children are going to benefit. We're going to give every single Bahamian their land. The land that they stole from us and took from our grandmothers then because they were ignorant and didn't know what was going on. We're going to give our Bahamians our land. And we're going to empower our people. That is what we're going to do. Come out. Don't come by yourself. Grab some of your friends and family and get them to come too. Remember, whenever you have numbers, the police can't do nothing. The government can't do nothing because you got numbers. If only a few of you come out, then once you come out, you have strength. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good evening, Mr. Green. Good evening, Bahamas.
Good evening.
I just have a quick question. Concerning Telecom on Wednesday, does the Commissioner of Police intend to restrict you from going inside?
I don't think so.
No.
But you never know.
Okay.
They could wake up in one mood or the next, one day or another.
Okay. I'm just curious.
You see? So they see this in their ComSat meeting, they see this as an embarrassment to the country. I don't know if that's what Brave told them. But they see it as an embarrassment for the country. They were trying to vilify me. But I'm going to have to stand up. I really don't care what man thinks. I'm afraid of God. And if I'm sent somewhere to do something or say something, I'm going to do that and say that. Because I don't fear what man can do unto me.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So, all right. See you on Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. So again, this is an event for Bahamians. Come in your Bahamian colors. Come dress in your Bahamian colors. It's an open event. It's open to the public. And so there will be parking there. And you know where Bahama Convention Center parking lot is. You can park there. If there's, for any reason, any problems with parking, we're going to have buses ready to shuttle persons from Goodman's Bay to there. And we'll be live, so if you have to make any changes, we'll do that. But nothing is going to stop us from speaking out. Nothing is going to stop us from speaking out. We are going to speak. Good afternoon, you're live. Yes, you're live. Go ahead. Don't listen to your device. Listen to the phone.
What I want to find out or say to Lincoln is, how the police officer could think that this is such embarrassment to the country when people are standing up for what is right and what is due. They're my citizens, right? If you travel all over the world or even listen to the world news, you see people always demonstrating for what is just for their country.
Yeah. And demonstrations are part of democracy. It's how you let the government know what the wishes of the people are. It is the only time that the minority has a say. And so I heard in an interview, the prime minister was saying the majority rules and they will always get their way. But there is a safety net put in a democracy so that the minority can have their say, and that is called demonstrations. And so
that's the only way sometimes you get your message across, because
yes.
if you sit down silent about everything and trying to look good to please these politicians, they can continue walking over us behavior.
When you read this book, you will realize that the PLP has lost its way, and we have, the PLP believes, I'm going to read something that I didn't read about what the PLP actually did. But I'm going to come on the phone with you so you could listen.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for your call. I just want to read this. I should have read this earlier, but I was trying to rush through things. I just want to read the introduction to this book. And it says, it goes to chapter 6 of The Faith That Moved Mountains by Sir Randall Fox. It says the Secretary General of the PLP was light-skinned Cyril Stevenson. In addition to his official duties, he edited and published the Nassau Herald, a weekly tabloid. Although operated on a shoestring budget, in the hands of Cyril, the Herald became a flaming sword and a shield, fighting for the people's rights and protecting them against the human rights abuses of a colonialist regime. Every Saturday night, after a monumental effort, the Herald funded exposés of public corruption and maladministration until Bay Street shuddered at the mere mention of its name. Shuddered at the mere mention of its name. During the early days of this struggle for reform, Stevenson wedded the Herald to the cause of the masses and challenged the divine right of the white man to misrule over the black. The PLP formed a newspaper, and they would constantly do what I am doing what the COI is doing. They did a newspaper, and it was on a shoestring budget, and they had no money, but they would put that out every Saturday or Sunday. And they would let the people know about the corruption and the misdeeds of the government and what was going wrong. So I had someone on hold, but they hung up. They could call back. It would let the government know what was going wrong. It would let the people know the corruption of the government. And guess what? As bad and evil as the UBP is, they didn't victimize the Herald. Just hold the line, I'll get you right now. They didn't victimize the Herald. They didn't try to silence them. You see the difference in this administration that is refusing to let people come and deliver a letter to the Prime Minister's office, refusing to let persons issue letters to the members of Parliament. You see the difference? How they have such a problem. They would do vicious attacks on me and other persons like me because we are showing the missteps of the government. That is our job. Let's go to phone lines. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bain.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I just wanna have my comment and make a little comment here. You know, I grew up in a PLP home where all of my life my parents were voting PLP. And being a grown up, we didn't know too much what was going on, what the PLP was saying to them to make them vote for PLP. But now this is our time, and we see the corruption that they didn't see. And I want to commend you because you are doing a stellar job, a good job. I've never, ever heard any politician in this time ever explain and educate the people like you're doing right now. Mr. Bean, you are loved.
The Bahamian people, I be home and I can't wait for your lives. It's like your lives is everything because I am learning. We're seeing what's going on in our country. And I just want to encourage you, sir, to let you know that a lot of people are with you. And what you're doing, we appreciate it because we have learned so much. You know, the politicians, they'll come around and they'll promise you, oh, we're going to fix the road. Or we're going to do this. We're going to do the school, the playground, all of these little things that they're supposed to do. This is what they promised the people at election time. But you're giving the people something different. You're teaching the people. And Mr. Bean, I don't know. The thing about it is, you mean so much to us right now. And we appreciate you. And I just want to tell you that. And to the Bahamian people, please come out. Bring your children, the young people. This is going to be history. If you've never been in something before, come out. This is going to be in the history book of the Bahamas. Mr. Ben fighting on the behalf of the Bahamian people, taking it all the way to Caracas. People, get up, wake up.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all of your words. God bless you. I see someone on here ask a question. It's a good question. They said, why is every single show about the PLP? They said that I was talking about the PLP since after election. Let me help this person understand something. The PLP signed up to be our servants. They signed up to work for us. If you have a store and you hire someone to work in a store, hold the line, I'll get with you right now. If you hire someone to work in your store, shouldn't you be checking up on them? Or should you just wait until you hear all the slackness going on, it's too late and your store closing down to go and deal with them? They work for us. And it is our job and our duty for them to make sure that they are doing right. They've done a lot of things that are not right. We must just sit down and let them make excuses about the immigration problem and do nothing. We must sit down and let them travel all over the world, spend up all our money, carrying their cronies and not say anything. We must let them increase our electricity bills after saying they would never let that happen and say nothing. We must let them increase taxes on the backs of Bahamian people after promising they wouldn't do so. We must let them increase NIB contributions by after saying they would never let that happen, that was not going to happen, and just say nothing. What do you want us to talk about? Let me just make this clear to you. No one was all over Dr. Minnis like Lincoln being in the COI before election. Brave was scared to deal with Dr. Minnis. Remember what Brave said during the pandemic? Just do whatever Minnis say. Just do what he says. First, they was talking against the thing. I can't say it because, they'll start blocking this. They was talking against the thing in your arm. And then Brave go on there and sit right down and get his thing in his arm. Let me tell you something. Lincoln Bain ain't got no thing in his arm. And I see nothing against persons who did. Some people had their reasons. They had faith, or they had, they wanted to travel, etc., and they decided to do it. But I said, listen, you ain't giving me nothing what don't make sense. This is a new generation. Make it make sense to me if you want me to put that thing in my arm. All right? No one stood up. We got locked up from Dr. Minnis. We fought for people who was locked up from Dr. Minnis. We was all over Dr. Minnis, exposing every single week. While Brave and the PLP was sitting down waiting their turn, just like Pinta doing nothing and not saying a thing. They would find something generic that don't really affect nothing, like how Pinta doing now. Something generic to go make noise about. Oh, y'all didn't do the hedge with BPL. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. All this stuff going on in this country, y'all talk about hedge with BPL. All this stuff going on in this country, seriously? They sit now waiting for their turn. But no one fought Minnis more than Lincoln being in the COI. No one. After the election, we were still all over Minnis. We still all over them. In fact, Maria don't let them sleep right now. People were telling Maria, man, they go and leave it alone. People were rowing Maria Daxon, telling them to leave Minnis them alone. She must see as a PLP because she's still attacking me. You can't just let them get voted, let them thief all the money and go. No, Lanisha have to account. The FNM is now talking about they're gonna stand up to this administration all of a sudden because they had a meeting saying that the COI making them look bad, so they're gonna try to copy us and they're gonna go to government buildings and try to make themselves relevant. They're gonna stand up against the government. Well, Pinter, why you didn't stand up when you and Minister was destroying this country? Why didn't you stand up? You came out and defended the actions of Minister giving all of our money to the Hollow West Coast. You defended these people. All right, that is what you did. You defended the evil of Minister and yourself and all of y'all in the cabinet because it's collective responsibility. Why didn't you stand up then while the people were being locked down and they had no water in their house? While the coconut vendors was being arrested? Why didn't you stand up then, Pintard? Your deputy, Shannon Dawn Cartwright, why didn't you stand up when you said people above you was forcing you to give out the contracts and to do the corruption? How do you go? You think we forget? You were corrupt, and you said that you was forced to do it by those above you. I guess implying that it's Minister, but no one could tell you to do nothing, Minister. You are the chairman of an organization. He has no power to tell you what to do, to give corrupt contracts out there. You are corrupt. You need to go and sit down and shut up. Iram Lewis, what you did with the disaster recovery, go sit down and shut up. Go in the corner. The baby people aren't ready to hear from you all yet. Sit down and shut up. Kwesi Thompson, what you all did to the Bahamian people and the taxes you all put on the backs of Bahamian people, the corruption that happened with that Grand Bahamas sale, you all stole the sale from me and my partners of that Grand Bahama Hotel. And $1 billion that was to be invested in Grand Bahama, and y'all, why didn't you stand up then, Kwesi Thompson? I don't want to hear anything from this evil, corrupt FNM regime. And I ain't start on Minister yet. They have a deep, dark place in hell for Hubert Alexander Minister. He better thank God this is the Bahamas and not some other country that thinks differently from us, because he would have been gone. He would not have survived what he did to the Bahamian people. You all go sit down and shut up, because I will distract my attention from Philip Brave Davis for a minute, and me and Maria will be all over you all, because we got all kind of files. You all sit down and shut up until we call for you all, and we ain't calling for you all no time soon. Caller, you're live.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Damon. Like I just wanted to call and let you know we really stand behind you, and we needed somebody like Mr. Bain to stand up. In the beginning, I was a skeptic, you know what I mean? And I was saying, Mr. Bain, you're doing stuff like everybody else, but buddy, I could wholeheartedly say I stand behind Mr. Bain. I know you have our best interest at heart, and I encourage the young people to come out and stand behind you, because all of us who are standing behind Mr. Bain, we only standing for each other. This solidarity, and this is for Commonwealth. We fighting for the officers, we fighting for the nurses, we fighting for the people who in their houses who can't come out to fight. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want y'all to take a stand and say, oh, we trying to, I don't know what y'all probably might be thinking, or probably just want to stay with y'all party with PLP and FNM and deal along with the corruption. It's time to wake up, Bahamas. And if we don't wake up and go along with Mr. Bain, trust me, that's the only one who's fighting for us right now. We can lose our country. Our children will be turned over. We're already basically slaves. You understand? They've been taking our property. They've been taking our benefits for years. And we have not been benefited from it. Now we have Mr. Bain standing up and confronting them. They're the Goliath. Mr. Bain standing up as our David, you know what I mean? And we have to stand up behind him and be the slingshot, that takes down the giant. Because he can't do it alone. And we need numbers. We need everyone to come out. We need everyone to support. And if you love this country, if you call this country home, you will come out and support. Because it ain't only about us. It's about everybody who benefits from the Bahamas.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. We appreciate your call. See you on Wednesday.
Really, to everyone in the Bahamas, you all just wake up and listen to Mr. Bain back. Come on. It's pretty simple.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
All right, good night. You know what, Maria? I know you're watching this. Maria, I think we should, whenever Pinta them say they're going somewhere to some government ministry talking nonsense, but they're going to protest, we need to show up to remind them that we want nothing to do with them. The Bahamian people don't want nothing to do with them, and that they still need the answer and tell us where the VAT money gone. Because notice, Brave them ain't telling us either. These people is one. They still need to tell us what happened to the disaster fund money. They need to tell us why they were doing the corruption they're doing. We need to find out what's going on with Alicia Rule and why the police haven't dealt with that finally yet. We need to find out what's going on with Shannon Dawn Cartwright situation. We need to find out what's going on with what's my name? Frankie Campbell. We need to find out what's going on with Brentwood Wells. Notice he going quiet, but when you all show up, we can show up, eh? I think that's what needs to happen. Because y'all ain't getting away with what y'all do to this country. Don't think we finished with y'all. All right? So y'all go sit down and shut up. Go sit down. Now, unless y'all willing to come fight for the real stuff, you notice Brave stole the Sovereign Wealth Fund and the FNM ain't saying nothing. Y'all, who noticed that? They sit right there in the House of Assembly and let them take the Sovereign Wealth Fund and no one vote against it. In the House of Assembly. That's why they're attacking Pinewood, and that's why they're afraid of me in the House of Assembly. Because when they try their tricks, we'll be all over them. You all can see them removing our Sovereign Wealth Fund, and y'all ain't vote against that. Y'all ain't stand up against that. That's when y'all are supposed to stand up in the House talking about questions. Questions? Y'all could table bills. Go table some bills. Y'all could do select committees. Go do some select committees. Stop talking about it. From last year, y'all was talking about y'all could use the PAC and start having select committees. Bunch of flammers. It's corrupt waiting for your turn again. All this garbage Brave Davis them doing. Passing bill so that our carbon credits could go to FTX and y'all ain't say a word. None of y'all in the FNM. So sit down and shut up or we coming for y'all. Brave will be glad. If any of y'all go around our government buildings, we done fire y'all from them government buildings. Y'all are not, y'all are welcome to any one of them. So sit down and shut up. Pintan and the rest of you. Good afternoon, you live.
Good night, Lincoln.
Good night.
45 caller from Freeport.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, you just took the words out of my mouth. I just was about to call about that, about our carbon credits and sovereign wealth fund. They haven't addressed the nation concerning that yet. I think you need to put some hell in them concerning that.
Yes, of course we will.
Because what they're doing to the Bahamian people is wrong.
Yes, yes, 100%. 100%. We are going to stand up and we're going to fight. It takes numbers to fight. So just stand with us. Just stand with us, and we're going to win. We're gonna benefit. All right.
Me and I is you, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
And you're doing a wonderful job. You and Maria doing. You're doing a wonderful job, and me and my family stand behind you 1,000%.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Okay, I'll just sit back and listen.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. All right. I want to read this thing. This is the last thing I'm going to do tonight. 16th of April, 1945, Sir Randall Fox wrote a letter to the Bahamian people. And I take these words as mine. It's the original letter that he wrote. There it is. Randall Fox said, it's in handwriting, so it might be hard to understand. I, Randall Francis Fox, being of sound mind, do hereby firmly resolve that I shall hereafter let every thought, every act of mine be decided and weighed in the scale of human values, so that whatever I may do may benefit not only one or two individuals, but humanity at large. And I do hereby dedicate my life to the service of the oppressed. Christ did it. Abraham Lincoln did it. Franklin Roosevelt did it. Therefore, I myself will do it. God give me the strength, strong enough, and life long enough to see it through. Randall Fox. April 16th, 1945. He signed it. I will take, hold the line one sec, I'll be right with you. I will take the vow that Randall Fox took. On this day, the 12th of February, 2023, I say that I, Lincoln Michael Bain, organic Bahamian, being of sound mind, do hereby firmly resolve that I shall hereafter let every thought, every act of mine be decided and weighed in the scale of human values, so that whatever I may do may benefit not only one or two individuals, but humanity at large, the Bahamian people at large. And I do hereby dedicate my life to the service of the oppressed in the Bahamas. Christ did it. Abraham Lincoln did it. Franklin Roosevelt did it. Therefore, I myself will do it. God give me the strength, strong enough, and the life long enough to see it through. Lincoln Bain, February 12, 2023. Good afternoon. Live.
Good night, Mr. President.
Good night.
Good night. How you doing, sir?
I'm awesome. How you doing?
I'm right here. Mr. Bain, I am wondering why is it that nobody is saying anything about our carbon credit. Nobody, none of them. And how was it that they could just go and sign things and put everything in place and the people don't know nothing about it? I can't understand that. I can't understand that. What's going on with that?
Brave thought he had the country on lock. He bought out the entire media, gave ambassadorships to some owners of the media, gave jobs to prominent media members so that no one would be there to stand against him, got rid of talk show hosts, got them out of place, got members of other third parties to sell their souls. And so he thought he had this country on lock. He removed any challenge that he could have. He gave Loretta Butler Turner a job to make sure that the F&M didn't even have a chance to bring her back if they wanted to. He made sure that Michael Pindad has no say and no strength. And as you can see, Michael is in charge challenging anything that they're really doing that affects the Bahamian people. So he thought he had this country on lock. He had the unions in his back pocket. He made them practically endorse him. And now they're complaining again, but he had them in his back pocket. And the only challenge he had was me. And they thought that by pushing some court case against me, they thought that by putting all kind of lies out there about me, they thought that would affect the mindset of the Bahamian people. And they thought that they could have bought me out by now. Brave has sent a few of the people who are close to me in order to get me to meet with him. And I refused at every single turn. They came with these ideas of offers, even having me to deal with natural resources. I'm not a fool. That's to sell me out and discredit me. All right. And then they can steal our natural resources. There's offers of all manner of things, including money. I am not interested. I will not sell out. We are too close to the new Bahamas. And they have nothing that I want. God has tested me over the years, and every major battle that I have fought for Bahamians, I was bribed. I was made offers to step down or to walk away, and every time I refuse their offers, and we want every major battle to be fought, every single one, because we did not relent, we did not sell out, we did not stand down. I am not going to relent or stand down now. All right? I am not. I will eat dirt and live on the streets before I stand down and let them rob and rape our country. The new Bahamas is right here. And by the time as we blink, it's going to be time to walk into the new Bahamas. I am not standing down. But this is why Brave them are doing what they're doing, because they thought by now they would have already been able to crush me, kill me, lie on me, set me up, or do whatever it is they want to do. But God is in control. And where he sends me, I go. And what he tells me to say, I will say. And who don't like it, go deal with him.
I have a group of white county girls, right? They very much asking me a lot of questions too. They want to know why is it nobody is questioning women about our $8 billion worth, right? And why is it nobody know about the sovereign wealth fund that we're tolerating, right? And these the questions they put in the mail. I can't answer them, but I mean probably you could answer it for them, but they want to hear you start against limits on this war. That's number one. And we're able to solve it fund. But that's what the people are very, very interested in now.
Well, we are standing up, and like I said, we're going to CARICOM. Tell them jump on the plane and come to CARICOM if they serious. Tell them don't stand in the background and tell Lincoln go stand up, go take the bullets. Tell them come. Tell them it's time for us to stand up. Tell them don't be scared. Yeah, they might lose one contract. Yeah, they might lose one, permit or one building permit or something like that. Yeah, but I've lost a lot of that. I've lost millions of dollars fighting this fight. I could have been in a situation, that could have gone for generations. I chose this fight. And I'm going to stand up for this. This is not an easy road. It is not easy when you have a government fighting against you. Anything you want to do, they're going to put spokes in your wheel, Bahamians like to say. And so tell them, come. If that's what they want to sign up for, whatever you want to sign up for, tell them come to CARICOM. Because we're going to tell CARICOM other Caribbean nations have sovereign wealth funds. St. Kitts just got a sovereign wealth fund. Come on, man, little St. Kitts. What natural resources they got? Well, they are using because they actually are giving people citizenship, investment citizenship. And so the money from the investment citizenship is not going to the consolidated fund. It's going to the sovereign wealth fund. So people are signed up to be citizens of St. Kitts so that they can avoid taxes in their country and all this kind of stuff. Instead of it going to government, St. Kitts say, no, that's going to the sovereign wealth fund to benefit our people. Turks and Caicos got a sovereign wealth fund, man. All these Caribbean countries doing it. Trinidad, Guyana got a sovereign wealth fund. They didn't reach $1 billion. Just like that. And Brave taking what's ours.
I want to know if Ben God knows anything about this problem that's one, because he definitely ain't saying nothing about it. I want to hear what he has to say about it.
I don't want to hear nothing from Ben God. I don't want to hear nothing from Pentad. All I want Pentad to do is get lost. That's it, and that's all. Boy, the camera starting to knock up again. Something happened just now.
You're doing 100% good job, and all I got to say, me and my own family and my whole entire family is 100% behind you.
Thank you.
Be sure about what we feel about you. Okay? And I always say to them, I gave them boys 50 years of my life. After them on TLP. Okay? I am not going to lose it. I'm looking for something different. I'm looking for change, and that's what I feel with. Okay?
Thank you, man.
If you let it start, then that's so be it. But I don't like that. I don't think you're going to let it start. You know?
All right.
So you
thank you, man. God bless. Good afternoon, you're live. Good afternoon, you're live.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
Very good. Let me just cut this off right quick.
Yep.
Let me say this now. When you become the prime minister, and I do believe you will. Every day from now, since Christmas, the Bahamian people are losing $800 per week.
Mm-hmm.
Would you put something in retroactive process that we can get that money back from Braves?
You're talking about the sovereign wealth fund. It's not going to be.
Yes,
it's not going to be retroactive, but it's going to cover you for the rest of your life. What we have to do with it the first year is we are going to reinvest it. I'm already in conversations with stock brokers, etc., who work for major companies like Merrill Lynch, etc., etc. This conversation is already had. All right. And so I want you to know that we are prepared to go from day one. I'm not just telling you that. That is a reality. All right. And so, I've already had these conversations. And so what we're doing is we're not taking the money from the carbon credits and then sharing that out. We're going to take it. That becomes a part of the principal. We are going to flip that money in the stock market. The stock market grew tremendously. All right. In the last year or so. All right. There's been a lot of money that was made. And so what we're going to do is invest it. And from the profits from the investment, the same way Norway does, we're going to distribute that to the Bahamian people. You understand? So if from the Sovereign Wealth Fund, there's $9 billion. We invest a portion of the $9 billion. So we invest a portion of that. We're not going to risk the whole $9 million. That's very irresponsible. They take a percentage of it, and they normally don't have more than 4% risk. 10% will be very risky, but they'll risk about 4 to 10% in the early days, so that the principal isn't put at risk and touch. And they're going to flip that money, and they're going to the profits from that goes to the Bahamian people and to whatever the Bahamian people decide. So, like for example, in 2020 and 2021, the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Norway made $250 billion from the investments. They invested in companies like Amazon and Apple, etc., that was going to make big money because of the lockdown. So that's what they made. That's not from oil or anything else in their GDP. That was just from the money they invested into the markets around the world from their sovereign wealth fund. All right. And so we're going to do things like this and other investments like Qatar is doing. They have land investments, et cetera, et cetera. So there's certain things that we're going to be doing around the world and here in the Bahamas. All right. So as we go on, we'll explain more and more of this. And hopefully the government could just steal this from us and start it now. So the process will already start, because we still could throw them out. But we don't have a problem with them stealing our ideas, but they always steal it and then take it in such a way that it won't really benefit us.
Yes, sir. Mr. Min, I'm very impressed with your mind calculations, right? That's very impressive, right? But I want to reach my spiritual people thinking out there. Right? Real quick. I'm not going to hold you too long because I know you're busy. But let me tell you something. When I was a couple of years ago, about 10 years ago, somebody asked me about NIP or all those, how you gonna live? I said, man, I missed a lot of opportunities. I was investing in what I was doing, and I missed a lot of opportunities. But I said to the person, God will take care of me. And they say, God, eh? But look here, sir, you are put here for this reason, you know. You're put here for this reason. Now, when is this? Where is this meeting going to be on Wednesday?
It's going to be at Bahamas Convention Center. So we're going there. We're going to have a demonstration. So we're not going to be in the convention center. We're going to be outside.
That's what I want to know.
On the street outside.
Never miss one of your demonstrations. Never miss one.
Thank you so much.
The only one I can miss when you walk into the House Assembly, I can watch it on TV.
Wow.
And I want you to say, free at last, thank God Almighty, we're free at last. They can understand that, man. God bless you, man.
Thank you, man.
I'll be there Wednesday.
All right, thank you, man. So, yeah, so there's so much that we're going to do and that we can do. We just need a government that's going to listen to people. Thank you. And I see I was getting harassed by this PLP troll, Astrid Bodie. I just blocked them. So we don't see them on here. I didn't block them on Facebook, I don't think, but I just blocked them so they can't comment on here. But these kinds of people. All right. Someone saying they would hack on the live. Yeah. Okay. It's good for them. Listen, they hacked us over today several times. We're not concerned about that. The fact is the Bahamian people can see it. We are a threat. All right. And you can see when someone is a threat by the actions of the state. All we want to do is make sure that our people benefit from our natural resources. All right. And so when we get in, we know where our sand is going right away. Right away, we're sending emissaries out to market our sand to the world, our aragonite to the world, right away. All right. We are going to lock down a section of our bank that is going to become like a store of natural resources, a store of wealth, just like Dubai did with their oil. They use it for collateral to do loans to go into the tourism industry. And they have tens of millions of tourists, while we're still bragging about 7 million tourists, mostly who don't come off the ship. But we're going to do something similar. There's going to be companies formed in order to do that. So our country's sovereign debt will not hurt us getting loans to do these things. Just like all of these Middle Eastern countries do, they form companies to start operating in different areas. But with us, we still operating with the consolidated fund and putting the country deeper and deeper in debt, instead of forming companies like Dubai, Qatar, Kuwait, etc. did, Norway did. And so it doesn't matter if your country's $12 billion in debt. If you have natural resources, if we say right here is $1 billion, in this area is $1 billion worth of, I just call it numbers, worth of aragonite, we want a loan based on the value of that aragonite. So give us $500 million based on the value of this $1 billion store of aragonite. And we're going to take that $500 million and buy some cruise ships. You see, for example. And so that's 2 to 3 small cruise ships that now cruise our islands and move our tourists around our islands to circulate the currency in our islands more. Do you understand? Do you see? And that was just small numbers I was calling, for example. It's going to be bigger than that. We just need vision. That's all that's missing. And we're going to bring our professionals home from around the world. Our Bahamians who are running hotels, running hospitals, who are professionals around the world. And we're going to bring them home with the experience they got from in the Middle East, working for international companies from in Canada, in the US. We have experienced Bahamians. Will we be free from taxes? Yes. There will be no income taxes. There's no personal taxes in Dubai, Qatar, and these places where they benefit from their natural resources. They just started VAT in Dubai, but that's because of an international deal that they signed. They didn't do it to make money or to pay down debt or anything. They did it because they had an unfair advantage over other countries that they were partnering with, and so they just put a 5% VAT in there. We will not be burdened with taxes. All right, we're going to show you in the coming months exactly how this is going to work. We need a new group of people to take over. And someone said to me, you got to have the right candidates and this and that. We need the right people who are going to come together to be willing, who have the integrity, who are not going to sell out in the last minute to the oligarchs or to the political parties, to just come and do the right thing. We're going to a republic. And as a republic, we're going to be able to bring in the professionals to work and lead what we call ministries now. So like in America, they could take, the president picks his cabinet. All right. He doesn't have to pick them from members of parliament. That's our disadvantage. That's how you end up with someone like a Renwood Wells as Minister of Health. This is total garbage. We are going to go to Republic, and that means that you could grab someone with experience with health in the health industry and say, this is going to be the Secretary of Health. Someone with real experience in fighting crime and say, this is going to be the Minister of National Security. someone with real experience in education and say, this is going to be our Secretary of Education. All right. And now you'll have professional people, and the members of parliament can focus on passing bills, which will be their job. You understand? And so the reason qualified people don't go into politics is because they're afraid to get their names sullied, because they lie on you. You see what they're doing to me now. They will put all kind of stuff out there and just keep repeating it over and over and hope that people eventually believe this stuff, because they keep repeating it, or they'll grab it from so much different places. And so a lot of professionals can't take that risk, because how are they going to go back in the professional world after being sullied like that? And so that's how they play politics, to keep the qualified people out. And that's another reason our governments are so dysfunctional and can't operate, because they can't get the professionals in. And so we're going to change this system. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want strong people who are loyal. Our form of parliament is based on loyalty. And so we need strong people. And so we're going to have to take some action. Sometimes we're going to have to cut some people. There's some people we can't work with because they've sold out. And so I hear some people saying, oh, you need to work with this one or work with that one. We can work with anybody, but we're not going to work with anyone who is willing to sell out to these people. All right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. I only intended to go between half hour and an hour. You all took me for 3 hours today, but you witnessed how they hacked the system. I am going to spend the rest of the evening looking for that camera or that device, where that happened from. That was a serious hack that happened, but they made a mistake and they actually showed themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go live again on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Tuesday at 8 p.m. And we're looking forward to seeing all of you on Wednesday at 9 a.m. We're going to be there, so make sure you come out and demonstrate. And on Saturday, I'll release the time later. On Saturday morning, we're going to the property that they put those shanty houses on, and we're going to break them down. We've already got the tractors. We have a few tractors that are going to be coming, and so we'll be working hard and fast. And so we're going to blitzkrieg that area. And so we have more than one tractor coming, and we're going to break those shanty houses down. All right. So CARICOM, the people are coming to CARICOM. Thank you all so much. We appreciate all of you. And as we always do, I'm going to leave you with some videos. Oh, Lord. This thing ain't working properly. I don't know what's going on. You know what? I think I better just end the live, because it looks like this computer is still hacked. It is hacking everything. Everything is acting like it's hacked. So I'm just going to end the live. So see y'all on Tuesday at 8 p.m. and see y'all on Wednesday at 9 a.m. God bless all of you. No, not yet. Tuesday. All right. They wanted me to announce something that we're going to do in the future. All right. So thank you all so much. And remember that this is for Bahamian people. This is for Bahamians. And change ain't coming. Change is